John Beltran with Brian Nichol and Kevin Rohde. The Mustangs and the Beet Diggers about to kick off here from Beet Digger Stadium in Brush. The Beet Diggers are coached by Len Schwint in his second year, assisted by Dusty Quick, Travis Lefevre, Dick Creighton, Larry Mills, and Ace Wellen. And for the Mustangs, coached by Ty Davies, assisted by Josh Langford, Greg Edson, Jim Kreckemeyer, Ian Moreno, Andy Schoen, TJ Schneider, Seth Wolf, Chris Cobley, Jeff Peterson, Eric Sherman, Kyle Graulis, Drew Davies, and Gary Davies. So certainly a lot of help there for the Mustangs. Kevin, this Mustang defense obviously has some changes going into this particular game based on the graduation of some key players after the 2017 season.
They do, but they have Coach Langford coming back, running that defense, and it's the same scheme, and he's always had that philosophy of next man up, and I'm sure he's got whoever played JV and backed up last year in there and ready to go. I think you're going to see him do an attacking type offense or defense, probably pack 8 guys up front to try and stop the running game of Brush and put it on the shoulders of the freshman quarterback.
And Brian, let's also mention that this game last year was determined on special teams, and if that's an element tonight, we know that Fort Morgan had the big advantage a year ago.
That's for sure. They had 2 safeties, and they actually had a kickoff return, and Jimmy Keller also had a punt return for a touchdown. So special teams played a big part in the scoring last year, and then Fort Morgan came up strong with their defense and held Brush out of the end zone last year. So we'll see what if they, we had that. Trey McBride had those 2 blocked punts.
Yeah.
Well, he's now playing for CSU tonight up at Denver against CU. So they'll have to find somebody else that's going to be that stud to take that over, or maybe 2 or 3 guys that have to go in there and make that take up that slack there. So
that's a good point. Sometimes next man up is not next man up; it's next men up.
Right.
Because when you have a player that good, you've got to replace him with more than one. The opening kickoff tonight is brought to you by Ingmeyer Phillips Insurance. Things happen in life. Make sure you're prepared with the right insurance coverage. Ingmeyer Phillips Insurance in Brush and Fort Morgan. Isaac Morales and Jade Queen are back deep to receive. The Mustang kicking game 1 year ago really got going in Broomfield at Holy Family when Jose Jimenez was perfect on a couple of field goals, and I think Fort Morgan's got to feel comfortable with that area of the game, Kevin.
Absolutely. It'll be nice to see him kick. Fort Morgan is going to receive the kick, and Brush has chosen to kick to the north, which is the way the wind was howling not too long ago, but now it's pretty much a still wind and a beautiful fall evening for this game.
Well, as they say in England, it was spitting for a while before the game.
It was.
And yeah, it was. It wasn't even a drizzle. It was more like a spit, but now the sun has snuck its way through the clouds, and it's right behind us.
I thought Brian was just trying to enunciate.
Yeah, well, that as well.
That's a big word. That's our word for the day.
Yes.
The Beet Diggers are dressed in their home maroons with the gold numerals, and the Mustangs in their road whites with the upper black sleeves and the black helmets. Brush has been situated on the field for a while. Here come the Mustangs, and to kick it off.
Oh, Fort Morgan's kicking. I thought
they
signal it differently.
Yeah,
no, Fort Morgan is kicking. Yeah, Morales and Queen back deep to receive.
Yeah, initially the ref said that Brush was going to kick off, but
well, let's see if that looks. Oh, maybe that's not Jimenez, according to
20.
Somebody I don't have. We have it on the updated game roster. Who's kicking off? Unless Jimenez is wearing a different number, you'd think he is the kicker on this team.
I don't have a 20.
Well, we're going to say it's Jose Jimenez to kick it off, because that even looks like him. I know they've got helmets on. Kickoffs in high school football from the 40-yard line. It's been a while since we played a high school football game. Kicking off from that left hash mark. And this classic is underway from Brush, and a high kick fielded by Morales at the 6. He stumbles, runs to the 15, lost the ball, that is, excuse me, and I lost my way of speaking, and he's down at about the 15-yard line. A little bit over anxious there. Eddie DePriest, a sophomore, in on the play. And it'll be 1st and 10 here for Brush, and they're pinned way back the 15-yard line.
Yeah, it was the opposite last week for Brush. They kicked off to Wiggins. Wiggins fumbled the initial kickoff, and Brush got on it and then got into the end zone in 1 or 2 plays.
The quarterback is Alejandro Maltos Garcia, also known as Hondo. The backs are split. Wellen and Isaac Morales, 1st and 10. Under center, in motion to the right is Jade Queen. Maltos Garcia hands it off right up the gut. It's a gain of a couple. That is Morales before he's corralled by the middle of the defense. Alex Ortega in on the play along with James Hokenettle. And it's a gain of a couple, maybe 3. 2nd down. And we'll call it a long 7 to go for Brush.
Just like they did last week, they were doing those quick hitters right over tackle.
And I think that they've got to control time of possession here. Because if Brush doesn't control time of possession, you give that Fort Morgan offense too many snaps, it's going to serve to their advantage.
Right. And Coach Schwinn talked about the fatigue factor of not having as many kids. If your defense is out there trying to stop a quick Morgan team, it's going to be pretty tough.
2nd down and 7 from the 18-yard line. Again, the backs are split. And there is the give right up the gut and a gain of about 6 to the 24. Nick Wellen on the carry. Alex Ortega made the hit, but that's a nice gainer for Wellen, who nearly had a couple 100 yards in the first half last week with some huge runs against Wiggins.
Yeah, he had 152 yards last week and 3 touchdowns and 8 carries. Jade Queen had 78 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, so they were on the loose last week.
3rd down and 1 for Brush at their own 24-yard line. I think they're just going to keep this as simple as possible. Again, Hondo will turn, hand it off left side. Wellen cuts it back to the inside. That's a 1st down. Across the 25 to the 26. Isaac Linker, the senior, made the tackle, but he needed 1, and he got 2. And this is exactly what the Beat Diggers want to do. They've eaten up a minute 40 here on just 3 plays. And they're taking their time in the huddle just to limit the amount of time Fort Morgan has the football.
Right.
Yeah, seeing who Fort Morgan had up on that front line there. Brian Paxton looks like to be the right defensive end. James Hokenettle, the right tackle.
1st and 10 for the Beat Diggers at their own 26-yard line. Lining up on the left hash mark. Again, same formation with a back split. Receiver split left and right. There was movement by Morales in the backfield. That's the first penalty of the game, and that's exactly what Coach Schwent was mentioning with respect to not only turnovers but penalties. You've got to obviously limit those tonight against an opponent here in Fort Morgan, which has had a few winning seasons in a row and certainly is ready for this one. Right,
when you had to fight to get 12 yards on your first 3 plays to get that 1st down, to make it 15 yards to the 1st down, it's a little tougher on you.
1st and 15 for the Beat Diggers at their own 21. 9.5 to go in the opening quarter. No score. The Mustangs have yet to touch the football. Again, the backs remain split. Queen is in motion to the right. Maltos Garcia on 1st and 15 is going to hand it off on the right side and a gain of about 3 or 4. Just a quick hitter to Nick Wellen before he's stacked up over there by Jesus Villalobos, a senior for the Mustangs. It'll be 2nd down. We'll call it about 12.
It's going to be tough running, I think, up the middle, but that's where they like to run it. It's just off tackle a little bit or right inside tackle.
2nd down, and we'll call it 12. About the 24-yard line. Maltos Garcia with a pitch left to Morales. Swings it to the outside. Has got a block using the sideline, but then he's knocked out of bounds. And he was tackled over there by Connor Fajardo across the 30 to about the 33-yard line. Pretty decent gainer for Morales, who's got a lot of speed to the outside, and we'll give him about 8 yards.
And it's difficult on a first game for a defense to not just go with the flow because they're so excited and they want to get in there, but they have to get back to reading their keys and find out where the blocking is with the misdirection that Brush's offense has.
3rd down and 4 for the Beat Diggers. 8:43 to go first quarter. They're at their own 33-yard line. Yeah, the number of passes we're going to see from Brush is going to be limited, I would think, at best, especially if they run the ball well, which they've done so far. Matos will hand it off up the gut, close to a 1st down. That's a quick hitter there to Isaac Morales to the 37. He's right at the stick. It looks like he's about maybe half a yard short. But I think Brush is going to go for it here. They haven't been hit at the line of scrimmage. They've been able to get a few yards. It's a gain of 3.
They gave it to him.
Wow.
Ball spotted at the 36.
Maybe it's the angle that we're watching this from, but it didn't look like a first down from here.
No.
Yeah.
Especially where they were standing.
Hard to tell how far off the line the chain gang is on that other side. And that kind of adds some perspective to it.
Well, there is a crown, but I wouldn't affect
Right.
where the football is right now. 1st and 10 for the Bee Diggers at their own 36-yard line. And again, they're chewing up some clock here, approaching the 8-minute and 10-second mark of the opening quarter. Alejandro Maltos Garcia, the freshman, with Queen in motion to the right. I think we saw, was it a delay of game or some movement? And
Came
that
from
is
the
a
back,
delay of
Judge.
game.
Delay of game indicated against the
And that happens when you try and take off too much time. But that quarterback, that freshman's got to learn to look at that back judge and hurry things up when he starts waving.
Right, and he starts at the 5-second mark. So it's not like you've got to guess at that point. And there's a rhythm. When you're a quarterback, there's a rhythm in between snaps.
Right. Well, they were able to overcome the 15-yard, the 5-yard penalty before and get 15 yards. So let's see what they do this time.
1st and 15 from their own 31-yard line. All we've seen are 6 runs so far by the Bee Diggers. And we had movement by the tight end. That was movement on the right side by Luke Seawald. And now it's a 1st and 20. 3 penalties for 15 yards on this drive. When it comes to experience, Buildings by Design is the best in the business. Quality, commitment, and experience makes Buildings by Design the only choice when it comes to your next project. That's Buildings by Design. Well, now they might have to throw the ball here, gentlemen.
Well, you know, this first drive was going just the way Schwint wanted it to go, even overcoming that first penalty. But now 1st and 20 is going to be hard without putting it up.
From their own 26-yard line. Again, Morales and Wellen in the backfield. Maltos Garcia on the handoff right up the gut and driving across the 25 to the 29 is Nick Wellen. He's a solid runner.
Brought down by number 8, Isaac Linker, and number
And
21, Alex Ortega.
Let's see, he gained about 4 yards to the 30.
Yep.
It'll be 2nd down and 16. Wellen has 4 carries on this drive for 15 yards.
Morgan's got their defensive backs back. You know, they're not packing it in the box. They're expecting them to run or to throw at some point.
But Brush is accomplishing exactly what they want on this drive. Look at the clock right now. It's 6:45. Time of possession. Again, a big key. And it's a 2nd down and 16 for the Bee Diggers at their own 30. Maltos Garcia back to throw to his right. The pass is batted down at the line of scrimmage, and it was nearly picked off by the man who batted that football. And I believe that might have been for Fort Morgan, Nick Norris.
Yep.
Was knocked down by number 75.
He got a paw on that, and
Incomplete.
Nick's about 6'3", 6'4", and
Right.
you've got to
Brings up 30.
loft the ball or lob it over the defender.
Right.
And he's got a very nice touch, this Maltos Garcia, but anytime you're throwing towards the middle or the right side of that line, you know that defenders are going to get their hands up.
And they don't have heights on any of these kids. About how tall is that quarterback?
I would say he's probably, I'm guessing, about 6 foot.
Okay, so he's not too short.
3rd down and 16 for the 30. In motion to the left is Queen. There's the pitch left to Morales, cutting it back towards the outside. He's going to run out of room, and he's driven out of bounds.
The ball carrier.
And the Mustangs got to be careful. They're not too aggressive.
Out of bounds by number
At about the 32, maybe the 33-yard line. They'll give him a gain of about 3 for Morales. It'll be 4th down and 13, and the Bee Diggers will have to punt with 6.5 to go in the opening quarter. But again, they were able to pick up a couple of first downs and use up some time, and now it'll be Fort Morgan's turn.
Yeah, J.P. Hamer was didn't get caught inside before on that outside sweep. He got caught inside. This time he kept his position on the outside, and they forced him out with the small gain.
Juvenal Puga will punt standing at his own 15-yard line. Perfect snap. He gets it off. It's a fluttering line drive. Fielded at the 35. There's a seam to the 45 to the outside. Breaking a tackle along the sideline. A flag is down. Across the 40 to the 38 is Donovan Moya. But that one's going to be coming back. That would have been a return of about 20-some-odd yards.
There is a penalty flag on
But
this
I
one.
believe a Mustang committed a violation on that one.
I think there's a holding call back here about the 46-yard line.
It's so hard to.
Yeah, that was
block
near
over the field.
midfield, and it will be a block in the back, although I believe he signaled pass interference. But I think he meant block in the back. Normally it's a not like that, but like that. It's
Yeah,
an open
open
hand
hand.
for block in the back.
Yeah. Well, it's maybe his first game too, John.
Well, it seemed like my first game, I couldn't get the words out of my mouth for the return of the opening kickoff when the ball was fumbled, and Brian picked me up like a good teammate does. But anyway, the Mustangs will be back at their own 36-yard line to begin their first drive of 2018.
I think they called that on Hamer.
Speaking of Hamer, he's the lone setback. 2 receivers to the left. And now repositioning himself is Alex Ortega in that slot to the left. And about 4 yards behind center, awaiting the snap is Linker. And play action, looking to throw. He's got plenty of protection. Deep over the middle, wide open. The ball is caught at the 20, the 15, the 10. Down the sideline, near the sideline, touchdown. That is Jacob Ortega. 64 yards, and the Mustangs are on the board on their first offensive play of 2018.
Wow. What a beautiful pass. Jacob Ortega got behind the defense, and Isaac Linker just laid it in there to him. That was a thing of beauty right there on the first play of the season for the Mustangs.
Wasn't he didn't have any pressure on him. The line held up really well, and almost looked like the Brush defensive backs got back to a certain point and thought, well, he's not going to throw it farther than here, and just let him go on behind him, and that's a fatal mistake.
So here we go, the extra point to be attempted. That might be Adam Cardona. It is in there. Looks like he will attempt the extra point.
They're going to line up. He just threw the tee off the field, so.
Yeah, it looks like they'll go for 2. They've got that unbalanced line. Linker on the option right. He's going to take it himself, and he's going to score easily for the 2-point conversion. 6:08 to go in the opening quarter with a score. Fort Morgan 8, Brush nothing. It's a 1-minute break on B106, B106.com, and B106 on the TuneIn app. Jose Jimenez boots that football into the end zone. One play, a 64-yard pass from Isaac Linker along the right side to Jacob Ortega. And with a 2-point run there by Linker, the Mustangs with the early 8-0 lead. Not that early, really, because Brush held the football for quite a while. I still think that's going to be their strategy. They're not going to panic here.
Right.
1st and 10 for the Beat Diggers at their own 20-yard line. Maltos Garcia attempted 1 pass on Brush's first possession. Queen in motion to the right. There is the pitch left to Morales. Swings it to the outside. He's got a little bit of yardage to the 23, maybe the 24. Boy, that's the definition of gang tackling. Morales is still down. I mean, he was hit by Caden Edson and Alex Ortega, amongst others, flat on his back. And that's the one thing with the limited depth the Beat Diggers have. They cannot afford an injury. It's going to be a gain of close to 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6, but the concern now is for Isaac Morales with 5:56 to go here in the opening quarter. I mean, there must have been 3 or 4 Mustangs in on that hit.
At least.
Yeah. Yeah, and the ball had come loose, but the ref said he was already down, so.
And he's up and moving, which is good.
Yeah, I think he just got the wind knocked out of him at this point.
Yep, he's holding his solar plexus and ribs a little bit.
Mobile banking on the go makes banking easier for you, and when you're on the go, Equitable Savings and Loan. Check it out today. Equitable Savings and Loan. 2nd down and 6 for the Beat Diggers at their own 24-yard line. The receiver out to the left is Jose Salazar, and the inside slot is Jade Queen. Clock is inside of 6 minutes to go in the opening quarter. From Brush. Under center, Maltos Garcia hands it off on the left side. That's Wellen, and he's thrown down right at the line of scrimmage. Heck of a play over there by Eddie DePriest. It'll be 3rd down and 5 to go. We'll give him half a yard on the carry.
Brings up 3rd and 5.
Yeah, DePriest had a nice closing there. Hamer once again held up his edge out there and made him go back inside. Then DePriest was right there to take him down.
They call that assignment football?
Yes, sir.
That's what it is.
Yeah, because you guys are the coaches. I'm a gas bag over here. 3rd down and 5 from the 25-yard line. Again, the formation remains the same for Brush. Maltos Garcia, play action, looking to throw deep over the middle, and that's incomplete. Isaac Morales had the defender, J.P. Hamer, beat by about half a step at about the 45-yard line, but it was actually pretty well defended. 4th down, and the Beat Diggers will have to punt, and Maltos Garcia is 0 for 2 in the passing column.
That's what we're looking for as far as the Mustangs are concerned. They were getting some pressure in there on him, and he might have had to throw that just a little bit early, but he threw it over the head of his receiver.
Huga standing at his own 14-yard line with the Mustangs, Ortega and Moya back deep to receive at about their own 40. So they're going to get good field position unless they commit a penalty or do something that they don't want to do. And there's a high end-over-end kick, a fair catch caught by Ortega, and he calls it at the 47-yard line. He's got excellent hands, as attested to by that 64-yard touchdown catch. And what about the Mustangs going to the air on the first play from scrimmage?
Well, I was thinking earlier that in the past, Mustangs always ran to set up their pass. I can remember several times where they'd run, and then dump a little dinker over to Trey McBride running down the middle. This year, I think they want to balance it out a little bit more. What did they say, 60-40?
Yeah, that's what I'd heard earlier.
It's a new day, Kevin.
It is.
It's a new day. Again, Linker, let's see. He's not going to go under center. He'll be a few yards behind center awaiting the direct snap on 1st and 10 from their own 47-yard line. This time it'll be a handoff right up the gut and breaking a tackle and spinning out of another one across the 50 to the 49 is J.P. Hamer, tackled by Jose Salazar. It's a gain of 4. 2nd down and 6 to go for Fort Morgan in Brush territory.
The Brush defenders have to be back on their heels thinking, gosh, I don't want to get burned for another 60-yard touchdown on the second play from scrimmage.
Right up to the line of scrimmage. Linker again, used to being in that pistol formation a year ago, / shotgun here. 2nd down and 6 for the 49. Linker awaits a snap, hands it off, and there's Hamer again. He's got a 1st down along the right side across the 45 to the 43. A gain of 6. Nick Wellen made the tackle, but J.P. Hamer with a 1st down.
Yeah, that offensive line is making some nice holes, getting him that initial opening, and then he's going to have to make that cut on his own to get away from the linebackers.
Well, Hamer knows how to jitterbug his way and find those seams. For the Mustangs, 1st down and 10 at the Beat Digger 43, 8-0 Fort Morgan, 3:57 to go, and the clock is running here in the opening quarter from Beat Digger Stadium. 2 receivers split out to the right. Man in motion to the left is Jacob Ortega. Linker hands it off, stutter stepping right side, a solid gain across the 40 to the 38 is J.P. Hamer. It's a gain of 5. Josiah Fuentes made the hit.
Now Brush needs to work on that assignment defense and read their keys and their blocks instead of following all the motion that Fort Morgan's doing.
Connor Fajardo checks out. 2nd down and 5 for the Mustangs at the 38-yard line. Looking for their 2nd touchdown in as many possessions. Malachi Yanez is the receiver out to the left. And Linker's going to roll out that way. Still looking on the run. He throws, and that pass is incomplete. He threw it a little bit too high for Malachi. He was open. 3rd down and 5.
Yeah, he just got to pull it down a little bit.
Well, I wonder why he didn't set it. He could have set his feet there, but he was so used to throwing on the run last year with those designed rollouts.
Right.
It just feels more natural to him, even though he's rolling left.
Right.
That's, to me, that's a tough way to do it when you're a right-handed quarterback and you're rolling left. That's tough to throw.
And running downhill.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. I tried it with a Nerf football, and it was tough. 3rd down and 5 for Fort Morgan at the Brush 38. Again, 4 yards behind center. Linker, handoff up the middle, and 1st down across the 35 to the 30. That's J.P. Hamer. He had a huge lane before Fuentes made the tackle. It's a gain of 8 for the senior, J.P. Hamer, and he's got 4 carries so far for 23 yards.
Yeah, I don't think a defensive lineman has touched him yet. It's been the linebackers or safeties coming up to stop Hamer.
Well, and that's a testament to Fort Morgan's offensive line and that blocking.
Yeah, on the right side, it's he's been going behind Nick Norris and Isaiah Celestino.
1st down and 10 for the Mustangs at the Brush 30-yard line. Awaiting the snap is Linker. 2-step drop, throws it out in the left flat. It is caught over there by Ortega. Stutter steps back to the inside, and then he's corralled at about the 15-yard line. But still, that turns into a little bit of a pass / handoff, and it's a gain of 5.
Right.
And it's 2nd down and 5 for Fort Morgan.
And they're probably setting up a play where they'll do that maybe a couple more times, and then they'll fake that throw, and the guy who went downfield to block will just release downfield and be wide open.
You know, it's amazing how much more comfortable Fort Morgan looks on offense this year as opposed to last year at this time. Even though McBride was hurt in the second quarter, they were out of rhythm in that game against the Bee Diggers in Fort Morgan. 2nd down and 5. And here is Linker. He's going to keep the football running left, the seam across the left sideline to the 10, the 5, and he's by himself. Touchdown. Touchdown for Isaac Linker. 25 yards away, but there's a flag down, and it's going to be a hold. And let's see if that is an offensive holding penalty, which would negate the touchdown. It was downfield, and it will be against Fort Morgan. But that was a very well-designed play, but the Mustangs commit a penalty, and it will not count.
That was one of the things I took away from last year. They, Fort Morgan, they had 10 penalties last year for 82 yards in that game against Brush.
So that takes it back to the original line of scrimmage. We'll run through the nickel package at halftime, Brian, and you gated to mention that at the beginning, and then we'll compare to what they did in the first half to your 5 keys to the game. All right, 2nd down and 5, so it turns into a 10-yard gain with a 10-yard penalty. So the line of scrimmage doesn't move. 1:38 to go in the opening quarter. Fort Morgan leads 8-0. Again, Linker going to hand it off on the right side and trying to break his way is J.P. Hamer, but grabbing him around the ankles after a short gain. For a gain of a couple is Isaac Morales. 3rd down, and we'll call it 3 to go from the 23-yard line. Hamer's the only one who's carried the football outside of that Linker carry.
Right. For the Mustangs from the
We'll see if they change it up here and get Ortega in the backfield or not here later on.
There's such a major difference with a second-year starting quarterback. Linker looks very smooth out there. 3rd down and 3 from the Brush 23-yard line. Linker hands it off. Hamer up the middle. 1st down to the 15. Still on his feet. He drags defenders inside the 10 to the 8. It's a gain of 15. 1st and goal for Fort Morgan.
And it's a good sign when your offensive tackle's 10 yards downfield blocking for you and helping you get that extra yard. Good job by the offensive line.
And they're right up to the line of scrimmage. They want to score going from left to right from our vantage point from the 8-yard line. Will Hamer get it again? Nope, it'll be Linker this time. Stutter stepping, driving right side, breaks a tackle at the 6, towards the pylon. He dives and he scores. Isaac Linker from 8 yards away. Number 8 extends the 8-0 lead to 14-0 with 31.3 seconds to go in the opening quarter from Brush.
There was the size of Linker showing right there. He was grabbed at least twice and pulled out of those tackles and then got it into the end zone for the touchdown.
There's an advantage to having your middle linebacker be your quarterback.
Yeah.
Now this will be the extra point. Isaac Linker will hold. Awaiting the snap. The kick by Jimenez is up, and he boots that baby through. We'll keep it right here with 31.3 seconds to go in the opening quarter. And Fort Morgan leading 15-0. And is that a 53-yard drive?
Yep.
So they've gone 53 yards on, 9 plays. I have that as an 8-yard run, but either way.
I was going by the board. But
yeah, I think they were lying. But
I need to listen to you.
Oh, no, please. Please. Why should you be any different than my wife?
Why should I start now?
Good point. All right, so the Mustangs with a 15-0 lead, a 64-yard pass from Linker to Ortega. And then that beauty, the 8-yard run by Isaac Linker. The last kickoff went to the end zone. This one from Jimenez will be well short of that, but near the sideline at the 2, Morales running straight to the 10. Back to his left to the 15-yard line. Then he's dragged down right there around the ankles. Oh, that's a great open field tackle there by Briggs Wheatley, a freshman.
Yep. Fort Morgan's got some youth out there. That one pass was to a sophomore. And Eddie Priest is a sophomore, so.
Yep.
Looking good for the future.
Youth on the field, but not up in the booth.
Right. Speak for yourself. Everybody else speaks for me.
Yeah. 1st and 10 for the Bee Diggers at their own 15-yard line. Could be the final play here of the opening quarter. With the back split, one receiver out to the right. Man in motion to the left is Queen. There's the counter, and nothing. Nailed at the line of scrimmage is Isaac Morales. And, man, he was eaten up.
Isaac Linker.
Put the finishing touches on that one, didn't he?
Oh, boy.
You know who else was in on the tackle? A freshman in Frank Ortega. And that's the end of the opening quarter with the score. Fort Morgan 15, Brush nothing on B106 and B106.com. Let's begin the second quarter with the Mustangs leading the Beet Diggers 15-0. John Beltran along with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde from Beet Digger Stadium. A 64-yard touchdown pass from Isaac Linker to Jacob Ortega along with a 2-point run. And then the 8-yard scoring run by Isaac Linker. The Mustang defense has gotten the job done. Did allow a couple of first downs on Brush's opening drive when the Beet Diggers ate up 5 minutes of clock. But right now they're looking at a 2nd down and 10 at their own 16-yard line. And they've got to control the football. If not, this could get out of control here for the Beet Diggers. Under center, Matos Garcia heads off. And no, it's a counter on the right side, and nobody is full for Fort Morgan. It's a loss of 1. And I believe that was Queen. Thrown down, and now he's hurt. Alex Ortega made the hit, and I think this is basically a symptom of the Mustangs being very physical on defense and gang tackling. I haven't seen too many individual tackles so far.
Nope, they're doing a great job on that. And, you know, Brush came out and had that first drive and had a little bit of momentum. And then Fort Morgan just let the air out of their tires when they hit that long pass. And since then, Brush hasn't been able to get really anything going. And they're trying to run outside, and they had more success up the middle earlier. So.
Right, yeah. It's going to be tough to beat Fort Morgan to the outside. Again, they don't have the level of experience defensively they did a year ago, but judging by what we've seen so far, they haven't lost anything, any of their mojo. They're playing extremely well here in game number 1 under first-year head coach Ty Davies.
Yeah, they're looking good. They're looking impressive on offense. That offensive line looks like they've been running more on that right side behind Nick Norris and Isaiah Celestino.
Helping with all of your automotive and farm vehicle needs, serving Morgan County is Central Auto Parts. Your local Napa store is Central Auto Parts. And Colorado Plains Medical Center has experienced physicians and a highly trained surgical team trained in the latest surgical procedures. Explain what procedures are possible in your hometown at Colorado Plains Medical Center. It'll be 3rd down. We'll call it a long 10. Probably about 11 to go at the 15-yard line for the Beet Diggers. And now the danger for Brush is the turnover here. You're deep in your own territory. How aggressive will they be on this play? Hondo on 3rd down and 11. Here's the draw play and right up the gut and hit right at the line of scrimmage for nothing as Morales. Villalobos made the hit. It'll be 4th down and 11. And Brush will have to punt. And the draw play was a little bit telegraphed.
Yep.
As soon as Matos Garcia took the snap, he held the football high, and that basically gives the play away. But again, he's a freshman, so it's going to take some time, and you can see those things developing for a first-year player.
They have a timeout, Brush.
Beet Diggers call a timeout here with 11:16 to go second quarter. Fort Morgan leads 15-0. We'll be on the road next Friday night in Parker when the Mustangs take on Lutheran.
Lutheran playing Platte Valley tonight, down 7-0, but Platte Valley's a really strong 2A team.
Yeah, they're very strong. I mean, they're certainly a state title contender in Class 2A. As you would expect, the game here in Morgan County's got a very well attended.
Right. And it's their second game. They played Berthoud in that first week. Berthoud, 3A team that made it in the playoffs last year.
Right, referring to Platte Valley. Right.
Platte Valley.
Yeah, and they won that game 16-0. All right, so it'll be 4th down. And I guess they reposition the football back to the 16-yard line. 4th and 10. And Puga awaiting the snap. He's inside his own 5-yard line. The Mustangs should start this drive in Beet Digger territory. Perfect snap. Here comes the rush. And it's off the side of his foot towards the Beet Digger sideline. And that punt is going to go for maybe about 15 or 20 yards. He shanked it off to the right, and Fort Morgan's going to have tremendous field position. And the ball will be spotted at about the, 30-some-odd, 31, 32-yard line. Let's see when they spot the football, but they're playing with a short field now.
And it's a little early in the season to be talking snow, but things seem to be snowballing on Brush right now, as Fort Morgan just continues to dominate, and then even the special teams are gone. So,
but it's heating up for the Mustangs, a more
Yes.
appropriate verb to use in late August. 1st and 10 for the Mustangs at the 30-yard line of Brush. Already 2 for 2 in terms of scoring on possessions. Awaiting the snap is Linker, 3 yards behind center. Has it, hands it off left side, a gain of about 1. And that might have been DePriest,
Yep.
who was swallowed up there by Fuentes. And also in on the play was Thomas Metlin, a senior. It'll be 2nd down. Well, we'll call it 10. I mean, he got maybe half a yard for DePriest. 2nd and 10, just inside, or just across the 30-yard line. 10:39 to go, 2nd quarter. Fort Morgan 15, Brush nothing. Receiver split off to the right. Let's see if Linker's going to throw the ball here. Has it. This time he'll hand it off again. Running wide to the left is DePriest, but he's going to be hit behind the line of scrimmage, and he's going to lose a couple of yards. Nick Wellen was in on the play. He was the first, along with Jade Queen. And again, DePriest being a sophomore, I saw him run the ball pretty well as a freshman, but this is a higher level.
Yep.
Right.
Call it 3rd and 11.
and he looks like he'd be a pretty good like fullback, traditional type fullback, quick hitters, but the ones where he has to maybe make that first move and is going to be tougher.
Right, once he's loose, then he's got it going, but it's getting to that point. 1 receiver to the left, 2 off to the right. On 3rd and 11, Linker back to throw, rolling out to his right, throws on the run. The pass is going to be incomplete at about the 22-yard line. Intended, I believe, for Adam Cardona, the tight end.
Yeah, they're going to.
4th and 11. The Mustangs will be going for it here with 9:48 to go in the opening half of 15-0.
Brings up 4th down.
Yeah, see,
and 11 for the Mustangs.
Hamer on the sideline, so I don't think he's standing over there with his helmet on. So
Well, Ortega is one of the receivers to the right. 4th and 11 for Fort Morgan at the Brush 31. Linker is going to roll out to his right. Still rolling, still rolling, still rolling. There's a flag down. He's going to take off with the football. He's short of a first down across the 25 to the 23. Even had he gotten the first down, I think this would have come back. Yeah, it's a hold against the Mustangs, and I think Brush will just take over at the point where Linker was down because he didn't pick up the first down, although he did gain 8 yards in the play.
yeah, I'm sure they'll decline it. It only makes sense.
And for a new coach, Davies, you have all the momentum going. You hate to have this happen. You'd much rather get another score on that 3rd drive.
All right, so it'll be first down for Brush at their own 23-yard line as the Mustangs turn the ball over on downs. Now they'll mark it officially at the 22. Game has slowed down a bit here. The penalties in this game were committed in the opening quarter. Matos Garcia has thrown the ball twice. They've both been incompletions. From the 22, hand off of the left side to Wellen. He's got a hole across the 30 to the 33. That's a first down for Nick Wellen. It's a gain of 10 as Hamer made the tackle. Unless they're going to say his knee was down. Yeah, his knee was down short. So it'll be a gain of 8. My bad. 2nd down and 2. But a nice gain there by Nick Wellen, who's got now 6 carries for 24 yards.
Brings up 2nd down and 2.
Yeah, they found a hole over there on that left side. Wellen's quick. I mean, they're those quick hitters.
Yep.
From the 31. Receiver out to the right is Jose Salazar, but I think he's simply a decoy. Brush will keep the ball on the ground, and they do with Morales. And Morales lost the football at about the 32, and then he fumbles it forward to the 35. And let's see the Mustangs recover the football. It would be a first down if Brush has it. Nope, the Mustangs have got the football. They recover the fumble. And Jacob Ortega might have come away with that, not sure. Nope, J.P. Hamer, they say, came away with a football at the 35-yard line. So the Mustangs, for a 2nd straight possession, will start in Brush territory.
Right.
Yeah, see if they can take advantage of this and
Also to be spotted at the 35 of the Beat Diggers.
try to take Brush a little bit more out of this.
Well, this time they've got Hamer in the backfield, so they're going with their first team running back right now. Ortega lined up in that left slot on the inside. First down and 10 for the Mustangs at the 35. Awaiting the direct snap is Isaac Linker, the senior. And he will hand it off, stutter stepping as Hamer across the 35, then he's driven back at the 33. It's a gain of 3. But Wellen and Queen in on the hit for Brush.
We'll see if they're going to start opening this up a little bit. It looks like Brush is bringing some more guys in to fill those gaps, and it's making it tough running now.
Well, they advance that football a little bit more to the 32.
They only ran the one time to the outside, and other than the hold, Linker had a touchdown.
Yep.
Connor Fajardo is the receiver on the outside to the left. 2 to the left, 1 to the right. Linker this time, stutter steps, run to his left, and he's going to be thrown for a loss. Didn't have anything there. He was looking for a seam, but he had nothing. Chase Barnett made the hit. A loss of 1, 3rd and 7. Linker had 3 carries for 26 yards and a score, now 4 for 25. The Brush starting to gain some momentum here.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they overcame the short punt, and now they're overcoming the fumble, possibly. This would be huge for them.
3rd down and 7 yards to go for the Mustangs at the Beet Digger 33-yard line. Now 2 receivers split out to the left. Linker, 3-step drop, looking deep over the middle, wide open, caught by Ortega. It's a first down at the 10-yard line, and it's a gain of 23 for the Mustangs. Linker to Ortega, they'll give him 24 to the 9.
It's like he's found his favorite receiver here early in the season.
Yeah, that's the 3rd catch for Ortega, isn't it?
For 93 yards.
Yep.
I got to look at my numbers, and Kevin with a brilliant memory. 1st and goal at the 9. Notice that I dish out the compliments and you guys just give me insults, I love the way this works.
You just open yourself up, so.
1st and goal at the 9. Linker hands it off to Hamer, right side to the 5, breaks out of a tackle, and he's going to score easily along the right side. J.P. Hamer, 9 yards away for a touchdown. Fort Morgan 21, Brush nothing.
Well, they didn't overcome that turnover, so they got Hamer back in there. They were just probably giving him a little bit of breather.
8 carries for 54 yards for J.P. Hamer. And now double J, Jose Jimenez, to attempt the extra point. Off the hold of Linker. Jimenez with a huge leg. He doesn't need it for this particular one, and an accurate one as well. Linker awaits the snap. It's there, heavy rush, but the kick is up, and that is good. 6:56 to go, 2nd quarter from Beet Digger Stadium in Brush. Fort Morgan 22, Brush nothing on B106 and B106.com. Brian, a short field for the Mustangs, and they capitalize and score again.
Yeah, that looked nice with Hamer in there. Took 4 plays, but that was the big pass out of Ortega on the 3rd and 8 from the 33. They got it down to the 9.
Yep, a 24-yard pass. J.P. Hamer with a 9-yard run to kick off all the way to the 2-yard line. Along the sideline is Jade Queen across the 25, running hard and right into some Mustangs. At about the 29, Eddie DePriest. And on special teams, along with Angel Flores, both are sophomores. And it'll be Brush actually having their best field position in the opening half at the 30.
Yeah, it's we'll see what they can do here. See if they can get back to their running ways. If they're going to have to, they tried opening up a little bit last time and just not happening right now with the Mustang defense.
1st and 10 for the Beet Diggers at their own 30-yard line. With 6:50 to go. In the opening half, Fort Morgan leads 22-0. Hondo, play action, throws it out to his right. The pass is complete. That's a first down along the sideline. It is caught by Luke Seawald, the tight end. It's a gain of 12, and that's the first completion for Matos Garcia.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty tight on coverage, but he just delivered it to the right spot. He couldn't defend that.
1st and 10 for Brush at their own 42-yard line. That does stop the clock. Although that really doesn't make a difference right now in a 3-touchdown game in the second quarter. But that could set up a run here that Brush is going to try to execute.
Yep.
But however, hit in the backfield as well. And off the quick handoff, it's a loss of 2. And Nick Norris, I think, ran through untouched in its 2nd down and 12.
Yeah, Nick's having a nice game here, offensively and defensively.
That was Welland's 7th carry. And he's been contained, only 22 yards for the junior. This is a 1,000-yard rusher from a year ago who went off, as Brian said last week, for 152 yards in a 7-touchdown victory over Wiggins. 2nd down and 12 for Brush at their own 40-yard line. Inside of 6 minutes to go, second quarter, the Mustangs lead by 22, and Maltos Garcia is going to hand it off to Welland, right up the gut, breaks a tackle, and he's across the 50. He's in the Mustang territory at the 40, along the left sideline as well at the 30. He's got a first down. That's a strong run by Nick Welland at the 29-yard line. That's a gain of 31 yards and a beat digger first down, and Welland all of a sudden is well over 50 yards in the game.
Yeah, he broke out of a tackle there, and then he got out in the open. Good thing that Fort Morgan had a safety back there to stop him, or he'd have been gone for a touchdown.
1st and 10 for Brush at the Mustang 30-yard line. That's their biggest play of the game so far. Their biggest play prior to that was an 8-yard run by Welland. And this time, this will be a bootleg to the right by Maltos Garcia along the right sideline. Then he's taken down across the 30 to about the 27. Linker there to make the play, but Hondo running hard. Mustangs there to meet him, but not before he picked up about 4 yards. Pretty good play there for Brush.
Yep. Yeah, I think Donovan Moya also in there on the stop along with Isaac Linker.
Well, you mentioned the Mustangs have some good young players in Brush as well. They've got a very strong freshman class. But, of course, they'll take some time to develop. 2nd down and 6 to go for Brush at the Fort Morgan 26-yard line. The backs are split, Morales and Welland. And there is the give and a loss. That is Nick Welland. I mean, he barely had a chance to grab the football, and he was eaten up over there by Devin Gherkin, a senior. And the loss of a couple. 3rd down, and we'll call it a short 8.
Yeah, they didn't fool anybody on that defensive line for the Mustangs. They were right on top of that on the handoff. They almost handed it off to the defensive line.
Right.
It'll be 3rd down. This will be 4-down territory, but the Bee Diggers are taking their time in the huddle. They got to get right up to the line of scrimmage, approaching the 4.5-minute mark. And the back judge about to start that countdown from 5 right there. 4, 3. Maltos Garcia gets it off, and he's back to throw, rolling right. He throws it. It's is it caught? Nope. Let's see. I think he did catch it. I thought the ball was thrown into the ground at about the 32-yard line, or 22.
Mustang players are saying incomplete.
Yeah, incomplete. Jay Queen was the intended receiver.
The only one that matters is the head judge, and he has called it all the way from the backfield because the other two refused to call it.
Oh, the defense can't call their incomplete pass?
No.
Oh.
But, I mean, neither could the two officials. There were two officials 5 feet away, and they're looking at each other, and then the back judge or whatever, the head lineman, the guy in the white hat anyway.
4th down, and they'll call it about 7 yards to go, just shy of the 27. In Fort Morgan territory is Brush. Let's see if Maltos Garcia decides to put it up again. 1 for 4 so far for 12 yards. Back to throw. Pressure coming off his back foot. He lofts it up. This is a jump ball. It's broken up at about the 11-yard line. Broken up beautifully. There were 3 Mustangs and 2 Bee Diggers out there. And once again, Moya and Ortega, Jacob Ortega, break up the play, and the Mustangs take over on downs.
Yep, and they had some pressure on him, too. Nick Norris once again in there. Made him loft that ball way up there. It easily could have been picked off. But
the 64-yard touchdown pass from Linker to Ortega brought to you by Cargill Meat Solutions, working with the community to make sure there are jobs for the members of the communities they're in. Cargill Meat Solutions. 1st and 10 for the Mustangs at their own 27-yard line, up 22-0, 4:07 to go in the opening half from Beat Digger Stadium. In the season opener for the Mustangs and game number 2 for Brush. Ortega He's going to reposition himself. Pitch out to the right. Ortega looking for a block, swinging it to the outside. It's got a seam along the sideline across the 35. He's got a first down. Jacob Ortega with a strong run to the 42-yard line. It's a gain of 15 for the junior, Jacob Ortega.
Somebody had a big block over on that right side out there. I couldn't see who it was, but he sent that Brush Beet Digger flying.
Now mark the football just across the 40. First and 10 for the Mustangs. We haven't seen that play. That was Ortega's first carry. Repositioning himself is Ernie Sandoval, another sophomore. The sophomore is getting some playing time. Two receivers out to the left. 4 yards behind center. Linker hands it off. Stutter stepping is Hamer, and he's got a hole across the 45. Got to the 47. J.P. Hamer with a solid run. And the gain is going to go for 7 yards. Josiah Fuentes made a bunch of tackles in this game, and that was another.
Celestino looked like maybe he was a little shaken up, but he's back up on the line and ready to go.
Second down, we'll call it a long 3, just shy of the 47-yard line. The clock now reads 3:23 to go, but time is not an issue, and the Mustangs do have all 3 timeouts remaining. Linker rolls out to his left. He's got plenty of room. He can take off with the football. He throws in the run. Complete. Connor Fajardo makes the sliding catch at the 40-yard line. It's a gain of 13 and a Mustang first down.
Yeah, that looked good with Fajardo. I'm glad to see they're using him out here on this near edge.
I think he could have run for that amount of yardage. I mean, there was a huge amount of grain without a bead digger in sight on that side.
I thought maybe he was going to just pitch to that guy blocking out in front of him, but he found
like a little shovel pass.
Yeah. He found Fajardo though.
First and 10 for the Mustangs at the Brush 40-yard line. Awaiting the snap is the senior, Isaac Linker. 3-step drop, looking, throwing out to his left, and the throw is short. It's incomplete. Intended for Fajardo, but he was well defended over there by Hunter Dunn. It's only the second incomplete pass thrown by Linker. Make it the third. Linker is 4 out of 7.
Looked like maybe Fajardo slipped a little bit on his comeback, and ball ended up short.
Linker 4 out of 7 for 106 yards and that touchdown to Ortega on second down and 10. From the 40, rolling out to his right, backside pressure. Linker throws underneath. The pass is caught by Fajardo. First down along the right sideline before he's hit by Isaac Morales right at the stick. But that should be enough. Should be a gain of 10 and a Mustang first down. How do you like this offense, gentlemen?
I love it.
It's exciting.
It is.
Yeah.
You know what? That's a perfect word for it. There's some flash. There's some flash to this offense.
Yep.
Oh, they're going to say third down and 1.
And a lot of variety to the play calling. It's not the same old, which was successful and got us far into the playoffs. Don't get me wrong.
But this will be harder to defend, especially with a senior quarterback playing this well. Third down and 1 from the 31 of Brush. Should be a simple handoff. No, Linker's back to throw. Linker getting pressured, rolls out to his right. A flag is down. Linker's got a first down, still on his feet, across the 20. And it would be a gain of about 11, but that's coming back. And that's the risk you face on a 3rd and 1 if you decide to pass or do something that maybe the defense is not expecting and you don't execute it the way you want to. You can commit a penalty. And now Fort Morgan is truly in a passing situation following a holding penalty.
Yeah.
And that holding penalty might have been behind the line of scrimmage. So instead of a 3rd and 1, now they're looking at a 3rd down and 16 from the Brush 46-yard line.
Yeah, that was about 5 yards back in the backfield.
After the penalty makes it 3rd down and 15.
And now we're under 2 minutes to go, and I think the Bead Diggers took a timeout this time. That's their second timeout. Again, 1:58 to go, second quarter. Fort Morgan 22, Brush nothing. A 64-yard touchdown pass from Linker to Jacob Ortega. Isaac Linker with an 8-yard scoring run. And then a 9-yard touchdown by J.P. Hamer. Brush did threaten on their most recent possession, but the Mustangs were able to come up with a couple of plays to thwart that threat.
Yeah, they got, as you said, they got deep into Mustang territory, but just came up short. They tried that pass, and it was well defended, and also pressure on the quarterback from the Mustang line.
Mustangs have 4 other road games this year, 2 on a Friday night. Next Friday, Lutheran Parker, and then against Roosevelt, and then a Thursday night at Niwot, and a Saturday afternoon at Northfield in Denver. Obviously, the home games, with the first coming up in 2 weeks against Thomas Jefferson, will all be Friday night games at 7 o'clock. So it is 3rd down and 16 for the Mustangs at the 46-yard line of Brush, up 22-0.
Which was the score of last year's game.
That's right. But not a pretty win.
No. A special teams win.
That's what it was. Sometimes it only takes one unit. Linker. He's going to take off with a football off the stutter step along the right sideline, still on his feet looking for a block. He's got a first down, and he leaps over a defender on the quarterback keeper, and there's a late flag.
Did they hit him late?
That might have been.
Or maybe you can't hurdle the pile. Is that still a rule? You can't hurdle a defender in high school?
Well, the gain would be close to 20 at the 26-yard line. Now the officials are converging in front of the Fort Morgan bench along the far sideline.
They're making sure they get the signal right so the guy on the radio doesn't give them a hard time about having the wrong signal.
That is correct, Kevin. Don't think I'm going to let that one go.
So that hurdling penalty, that's for safety of the players, I presume.
Right.
Did he call hold? But that's at the end of the play. That would not be a first down then. It's a gain of 20, but then if you're...
Personal foul, is that what they said?
No, they said holding.
Holding.
So that's going to be...
No,
maybe it is. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yards.
Did he call? Okay, did he say personal? I guess he did. My bad.
So that'll be...
No, I think you're right, Kevin. I think that's... now it'll be 3rd down
and 10.
And 10. Yeah.
And I don't like the way that, dead balls and personal fouls don't work. Like, should have been a first down, and well, they did give him the first down. What do you know?
Well, yeah, I
Must
have
have been
to
after the
play.
Yep.
1st and 10 on the 40-yard line. I thought I knew this game well, but
yeah.
Gain of 21 for Linker on the play, and then the 15-yard personal foul. The Mustangs have 3 penalties. They've committed 3 for 35 yards in the game. And Linker is going to roll out to his left. Again, plenty of protection. Now he's getting pressured. Throws along the sideline. Complete. First down. And that is caught by Ortega. Still on his feet. Breaking tackles to the 10, the 5. Touchdown, Ortega. He should have been tackled, but Ortega got away. 40 yards from Linker to Ortega. Jacob's 2nd touchdown of the game. And the Mustangs lead 28-0.
Wow.
Yeah, he was... he should have been taken down there about, the 25 or 20-yard line, and he just juked and pulled and got away from that defender. And
Yep. He had a couple of fellow receivers come down and help him out with some blocks that freed him up.
Jose Jimenez to attempt the extra point. A little bit of a high snap. The kick is up, and that is good. We have 1:38 to go, 2nd quarter. Fort Morgan, 29, Brush nothing. On B106 and B106.com. 40-yard pass as the Mustangs overcame a penalty from Linker to Ortega. And now lead 29-0 with 1:38 to go in the opening half. Jimenez will boot that football. Well, we know what direction the wind is going, and he barely gets it inside the pylon, but that's his 2nd touchback. Even the kicking game is very exciting.
Yeah. What a weapon at high school level to be able to get a touchback on a kickoff.
Brian, let's run through that recent drive here for Fort Morgan to get back on the board for the 4th time in the game.
That ended in a 40-yard pass, as you said, to Jacob Ortega. But Fort Morgan did overcome a couple of penalties there.
And they started with a fairly short field, I think, again.
At the 27. And they had the penalty back to the 40. Then they were set back to the 46 on a penalty, and then
Timeout, Mustangs.
Have a timeout by the Mustangs here, but took 6 plays to go He ended up having to go 40 yards. He started on the 27, but the penalties set him back, and they overcame that and got that 40-yard pass to Jacob Ortega, and he took it in the last, 25 yards or so. He got that pass from Isaac Linker.
I think if you graph that last drive and on like a bar graph or whatever, it looked like my EKG.
Well,
back and forth.
they got Fajardo involved in that drive.
Yep, they did.
So, I think it might have started a little bit deeper. But you're right. They went forward, they went back, they went forward, they went back,
Right.
and then following that last penalty, they were able to connect. So Jacob Ortega has got 4 receptions in the game for 133 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Fajardo, 2 catches for 22 yards. So Linker's thrown for 155 yards in the opening half. He's 6 out of 9 through the air. 1st and 10 for Brush at their own 20-yard line with 98 seconds to go in the opening half. There's a handoff right up the left side and maybe a couple of yards. And that's it for Morales. And getting up off that pile and making that hit was Ernie Sandoval, a sophomore. And trying to spot that other Mustang in on the play. And that was, before Morgan, that was Isaiah Celestino. 2nd down and 8 to go for Brush. I don't know if they're in any hurry at this point because they're down by 29 points. And off on the left side, Wellen to the outside of the 25. He's got a 1st down across the 30 to the 32, maybe the 33, as Connor Fajardo made the play. But it's a gain of 10 for Nick Wellen, and he's had a pretty decent first half with 130-yard run and that one right there.
Yeah, he's pretty much been the whole show for Brush today.
Yeah, they get him outside. Fort Morgan's getting squeezed. They're getting caught on the inside, and he's getting outside on that. This time on that far side.
Well, he's got 10 carries for 60 yards, and if Brush keeps the ball on the ground, this could be the final play of the opening half. We're down to 31 seconds. 1st and 10. Brush at their own 32-yard line, and this will be a handoff right up the middle for Wellen, and he's got a couple of yards to the 44. He's stacked up by Jacob Ortega.
Those are quick hitters. I mean, he's handing that ball off where he turns and Welland's right there. It looks like they're headed off the field.
And that is the end of the opening half with the score. Fort Morgan 29, Brush nothing on Morgan County's B106. We're on the TuneIn app as well and at B106.com. About to start the second half with the Mustangs leading the Brush Bee Diggers 29-0. John Beltran with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde, who's raising the roof despite it being outdoors. That's what I saw. No, there's no ceiling either.
I just heard the salsa music and I wanted to be part of it all.
Yeah.
They did put 3 minutes back on
Thank
the clock.
goodness there is a limited amount of room for Kevin to dance here. All right. The Mustangs will receive the second half kickoff. So with a 29-0 lead, it'll be interesting to see, and I know that's a cliche, interesting to see if Fort Morgan stays as aggressive with their play calling as they've been.
And I'm interested to see when they're going to start subbing more liberally because, like Lance said last week, or Coach Schwint said last week, they had to sub because they got to a certain point and the starters didn't get enough time. And here, Fort Morgan's going to be in that same boat.
Well, I think maybe if they take it down and score here, they'll keep their starters in probably on this drive, and then if they put it in the end zone, I'm sure they'll probably start
going into this game, I didn't think this would be a game that would be approaching the 40-point mark, or the mercy rule or running clock, but they're 2 scores away at this point.
Yep.
And again, that's a big difference between this year and a year ago.
Yeah, they got to get the clock set first before they do any kickoff here.
Well, the players are ready to go, but the clock is still running. So when you place this thing and reset it to 3 minutes, the extra 3 minutes, it sometimes defeats the purpose. You have to do that immediately. I think it got down to 0, and it was stuck at 0, and now because of that, you've got a delay. Yeah, they can stop that clock and reset it.
There we go.
There. Okay, that seemed like it was a little bit harder than it should have been, but nonetheless, Juvenal Puga to kick off for the Bead Diggers. And the second half is underway. Low line drive. It'll take a bounce and it'll go out of bounds at the 8-yard line. Smart play by J.P. Hamer because that took a pretty nasty hop. So Fort Morgan, which really dominated field position in the opening half, is going to have good field position to begin this third quarter.
Yeah, that was a mistake there by Brush on that kickoff. That'll set Fort Morgan up at the 30, 35-yard line.
Yeah, it should be the 35, yeah.
All right, except thinking back to last year, and Fort Morgan ran back a kickoff against them, so maybe they're thinking this is better.
Yep.
Well, that's a good point.
But yeah, I think they would have squibbed if that was their intention.
Yeah. Well, it is the first time that Brush has kicked off in the game.
We had a lot of practice last week, though.
1st and 10. Man in motion to the right is Ortega. He might get the pitch here. No, it's a handoff up the middle, and J.P. Hamer is down after a gain of 2. He was hit pretty hard at the 37-yard line. In fact, Nick Wellen, who made the initial hit, took a little bit of a shot himself. It's a gain of 3. 2nd down and 7 to go for Fort Morgan.
Number 59.
Yeah, he hit that hole pretty fast, and he came to an abrupt stop. So nice tackle there by Wellen.
And what do you think about the Mustangs? Right up to the line of scrimmage after every play. This is not something that we've seen conventionally over the years.
Right.
You know, we were talking to somebody downstairs, and they're getting their plays in now by signals instead of having to.
There's the handoff to Hamer, running right, breaks a tackle at the 42. He's got a 1st down, and he drives to the 46. It's a gain of 8 for the senior, J.P. Hamer, before Puga and Jade Queen made the hit.
Yeah, I think it's going to come in handy someday when you need to go with like a quick snap. You know, in a game situation, you're just going to have some sort of signal where you signal and everybody gets the line and you go and catch someone off guard.
11 carries for 72 yards for J.P. Hamer. 1st and 10 for the Mustangs at their own 46-yard line, up 29-0. Receiver split to the left and right. Man in motion is Ortega. He's got the pitch right, running behind 3 blockers, swings it to the outside. He runs out of room and is driven out of bounds near midfield. And the first Bead Digger around the football there was Michael Nichols, a senior. It's a gain officially of 3, 2nd down and 7, just shy of midfield. That was a 2nd carry for Ortega. He's got 16 yards. But his bread and butter tonight has been as a receiver.
Right.
Cardona is the receiver to the outside and the left. 2 to the left, 2 to the right. 2nd down and 7 for the Mustangs at their own 49-yard line.
One of those right receivers needs to drop back into the backfield, otherwise illegal formation.
Linker looking to his left for play instructions, awaits the football, has the snap, hands it off. Hamer with a huge hold to the 40, still on his feet to the 30, and he runs into a Bead Digger, but he's still driving to the 29, and it's a 1st down. J.P. Hamer with a gain of 21, and he is now at 93 yards.
Yeah, that was a quick hitter. I mean, he hit that hole. He's fast. So he gets into that hole. And
they're going to give him a breather. They got the Priest in for him.
The Priest, a sophomore, 1st and 10 for Fort Morgan. At the 30-yard line of Brush. Again, awaiting the snap is Isaac Linker. And he's going to keep the football, running to his left, stutter stepping, but he's got no room there. And the Bead Diggers read that beautifully. He's down at the line of scrimmage. Nick Wellen was amongst the Bead Diggers in on the tackle. And Metlin also made the play. 2nd down and 10. Linker with 6 carries, still for 46 yards.
Yeah, that play just kind of blew up right from the start.
All right, and Fort Morgan, even though they're up to the line of scrimmage, they want to take their time.
Right.
As they're doing right now, 2nd and 10 for the Brush 30. Linker will hand it off. That's DePriest off left tackle. And he bowls his way to the 27 for a gain of 3. 3rd and 7 to go for DePriest. That's his 3rd carry, and it's his 1st carry for positive yardage.
Yeah, they'll have to do some, make some holes for him, or get some yardage here, so they can give Hamer
for
a decent
DePriest,
break.
you've got to hold your blocks longer for DePriest because he's not the explosive runner as Kevin was talking about earlier as Hamer is, and of course he's 2 years younger.
But it is somewhat disconcerting early on to see that your second best back is not effective at all.
3rd down and 7. Linker, 2-step drop, throws over the middle. The pass is complete. That is a 1st down to Adam Cardona. And that went down to, the 18-yard line. It's a gain of 9. Cardona with his 1st reception.
Yeah, nice looking play there from their wide receiver.
Let's see, it should be at the 19, I believe, is the official spot. It says 20 on the board. Oh, we'll call it the 20. On 1st down and 10. Isaac Linker, the senior, has the football, hands it off to Hamer, stutter stepping, finding a seam at the 15, along the left sideline to the 10, still on his feet inside the 5. And J.P. Hamer with a 1st down right at the 5-yard line. It's a gain of close to 15.
That was a bad call there.
Yeah, the flag came in super late.
And the play was still going. He was downfield blocking. He couldn't tell. The whistle hadn't blown when he made the contact.
No.
That's not a good call.
Well, this is going to be similar to a play we saw earlier where the Mustangs gained 15 yards and then went back to the original line of scrimmage, if that's indeed the call.
Right.
Unless it's offsetting. But I don't think it is.
Unless the other official stepping in and saying, you know what? No one had blown the whistle. That's not personal foul, but I doubt they're going to do that.
J.P. Hamer's at 107 yards. That yardage will still count. And it will be a 1st down. Oh, boy. Is that Ty Davies out there not happy?
That was...
Yeah, I'm not...
I don't like to be critical of the officials because I know, one, there's a problem. We don't have enough officials because everybody gets on their case.
Right.
There was a plea by Chasta just last week needing officials in every single sport. But that one is questionable.
1st down and 10 for the Mustangs at the Beat Digger 20, so that's essentially 15 up, 15 back.
Yep.
So give Hamer now 108 yards officially, or unofficially, I should say. Let's see if Linker's going to hand this football off. He does to Hamer. He's got a little hole that's closed quickly. Right up the gut to the 17. Pickup of 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7 to go for Fort Morgan as the tackle was made by Josiah Fuentes. He's the leading tackler for Brush in this one. That was carry number 14 for Hamer at 110 yards. On 2nd down and 7.
You can see all these backs and receivers are looking over to the side to see what the play is that's coming in from the signals from the coaches and the players over there.
Linker, low snap, back to throw. He's got protection. He throws over the middle. That is caught. Touchdown from 17 yards away. It's a 3rd touchdown pass in the game for Isaac Linker. And that's Ortega again. And the Mustangs lead 35-0.
Pretty pass.
Yep, it's the Linker-Ortega connection. I think we're going to be hearing that a lot this year.
Well, I mean, Jacob has incredible hands. He always has.
Yep.
He's got 5 catches for 150 yards and 3 scores. Now the extra point to be attempted. That's a low line drive. That's going to be off to the left. It's no good. 7:35 to go, 3rd quarter in Brush. It's the Mustangs 35, the Beat Diggers nothing. This is Morgan County's B106. We're on the TuneIn app as well and on B106.com. We're back in 30 on B106 and B106.com. 17-yard touchdown pass from Isaac Linker to Jacob Ortega. Pretty nice drive there, Brian, for the Mustangs to get on the board for the 5th time. And there's a high short kick fielded by Queen at the 15-yard line, running to his left. He's across the 20 to the 25. Return of about 15 yards for Queen.
Welland, the ball carrier.
Or check that. I can say that was Welland. Yeah, that was Welland. Frankie Ortega
Number 26.
in on the hit for the Mustangs.
Yeah, that last drive, 65 yards and 9 plays with a 17-yard pass to Jacob Ortega. Pretty pass right over the middle. 4 minutes and 15 seconds off the clock.
First and 10 for the Beet Diggers at their own 25-yard line. The freshman, Maltos Garcia, turns and hands it off right up the gut for a gain of about 4. A quick hitter, close to 5. That is the junior, Nick Welland. And the hit was made by the sophomore Sandoval. Second down, and we'll call it 5.
Kind of returning to that up the middle game and having a little bit of success with it. Let's see if they can maintain that.
Welland now with 67 yards on 12 carries. But
So far, it looks like Fort Morgan still has their starting defense on the field.
On second down and 5, with the football at the 30. There is the pitch left, and there's a seam to the outside and a first down driving across the 35 to the 37. Connor Fajardo in on the play, but that's the first carry of the ball game for Kyle Welland. And Welland is a freshman.
Keep it in the family.
Right.
Ball spotted at the 37-yard line.
That was a nice pitch out there. Got him some yardage.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a well-designed play. Yeah, Brush has had some success with some of the plays in this game. But Fort Morgan just clicking on all cylinders. From the 37, man in motion to the left is Queen. Handoff left side for a gain of about 1 or 2. And that, I believe, is Welland.
Number 7, Keenan Edson. And number 77, Brian.
Edson in on the hit as Welland picked up 2. And also for Fort Morgan, James Hokenedel. It'll be second down and 8 to go. Under 6 minutes to go, third quarter. Fort Morgan 35, Brush nothing. Jacob Ortega just scored his 3rd touchdown of the game, a touchdown catch. A 17-yard pass from Isaac Linker. And on second down and 8 from the 39. With a receiver split out to the right. Maltos Garcia looks to his right, throws. That pass is caught underneath for a gain of about 4. That's Jade Queen. We'll give him 5 to the 44 before he's tackled over there. Isaac Linker made the play.
That was a nice throw. Led his receiver, threw it right over the defender.
Well, Queen did have a 41-yard touchdown catch last week and a 78-yard scoring run.
They protected him that time. They gave him some time to pass. He wasn't rushed.
Third down and 3 from the 44 for Brush. This could be 4-down territory if they pick up some yards here. Handoff up the middle. First down and into the secondary to the 35, down to the 20, to the 10, 5. That's a touchdown. Nick Welland has gone 56 yards, and the Beet Diggers are on the board. It's Fort Morgan 35, Brush 6, and now Welland is well over 100 yards after that carry.
Yeah, they opened that right up over the middle. That's where they've been going with it.
Yep.
And they got the right blocks, and he sprung out. He is a fast individual.
Probably a misread by one of the Fort Morgan linebackers, filled the wrong hole, and there was no one there. Nice run, nice block.
Yep.
Should be Puga to attempt the extra point. Well, that's good for Brush. They wanted to establish some momentum, and they certainly did right there. High snap, and the kick by Puga is up, and he boots that inside the left upright. It's good. 4 minutes and 46 seconds to go in the third quarter. Time for a break with the score. Fort Morgan 35, Brush 7 on Morgan County's B106 and B106.com. All right, it was Nick Welland going 56 yards for the Beet Diggers. They are on the board. It's 35-7 Fort Morgan. So really, Kevin, the thing is not to win the game here. You know, you've got the game won, but you want to play well at this point.
Right. And I think at this point, that's why you probably start subbing because you don't want your starters to get lazy out there. They know it's well in hand.
And you want to get them some experience as well, those younger players.
Yep. And Brush will have their starters in well into the fourth quarter.
Puga to kick it off. Line drive headed towards Hamer at the 14, along the sideline to the 25. He's still on his feet, and he's hit hard by the kicker, Puga, at the 43-yard line. Not exactly a form tackle.
No.
And, that hit right there is why a lot of players are playing other sports. They don't want that type of contact.
Yeah, that was a big hit. That Puga, is that his name? Yeah, a lot bigger than what GP is, that's for sure.
Well, again, that's not the way you want to tackle, but he's a big guy, and he had the sideline to his liking there. First down and 10 for the Mustangs at their own 44-yard line. Linker hands it off to Hamer. He's got a big hole across the right side, and he's grabbed around the ankles at the 50 and driven down at the 48. Jade Queen made the tackle, but not before a gain of 8. And you've got two running backs in this game over 100 yards. Nick Wellen has run for 125 on 14 carries, and J.P. Hamer has run for 119 on 15 carries.
Nice job up front by the offensive lines.
Second down and 2 for Fort Morgan at the 48-yard line of Brush. Under 4 minutes to go, third quarter. Linker will keep it himself, faking to DePriest. He's got a first down. He just maneuvered that line of scrimmage right up the gut. And it's a gain of 4 for Isaac Linker.
And he just kind of, I don't know if you call it tiptoeing, but he just kind of felt his way through that line there and just into the hole and got himself.
It's the way Kevin was dancing right before the start of the third quarter when he was raising the roof. I saw his footwork there.
Yeah.
Except he wasn't going forward, and Isaac did.
Yes.
First and 10 for the Mustangs at the 44-yard line of Brush. Both teams have a touchdown here in the third quarter. 17-yard pass from Linker to Ortega. 56-yard run for Brush's Nick Wellen. And there's the handoff to Dupree. Stutter stepping now, takes it back up the middle, across the 40 to the 39 for a gain of 5. He was grabbed around the ankles. And Nick Wellen made another tackle. It's a gain of 5. Second down and 5 to go for Fort Morgan. DePriest now with 4 carries for just 7 yards, but his last 2 have gone for 8, so he's getting a little bit of a rhythm. He's not going to carry the football much in this game, but he actually might in the fourth quarter.
Right. Yeah, they had a little bit of a hole there. Yeah, he's not a fast hit into the hole type of runner.
From the 39, Isaac Linker stutter steps, keeps the football himself. First down, running to his left, along the left sideline to the 30. He's still on his feet at the 25, and then he runs out of bounds inside the 20 towards the 18-yard line. Let's see how much they give Isaac Linker when they spot the football. The spot will be at the 18. It's a gain of 21 for Isaac Linker.
Yeah, that's a good run by him.
Yeah, he got outside on that left side and found some running room. They're going to call it on the 16.
Wow. Well, that's more than it's 23 then. From the 16-yard line. Man in motion to the left. Linker will hand it off right up the middle to, that should be DePriest, for a gain of 1. Nichols made the tackle. Second down and 9 to go for Fort Morgan. And when this play commences, we should be at about the 2-minute mark.
Not a lot of yards being picked up when J.P. Hamer's on the sideline.
No.
Well, like I said, DePriest prior to this carry had 2 carries for 8 yards. But yeah, Hamer's obviously a major threat.
Right.
Now we're under 2 minutes. Second down and 9 to go. We're in the third quarter. Brush and Fort Morgan here from B. Digger Stadium. Mustangs lead 35-7. Handoff to Priest. Breaks out of an ankle tackle, still on his feet, and he's down inside the 10 to the 9, maybe the 8.
21, Nick
And that was a nice run there
Yeah,
by
that
him.
was,
He's
yep.
a slasher.
It's a gain of 7. Make it 6 there for Eddie DePriest. Third down and about 2. There's the handoff. DePriest stutter steps, and hold on, we had a whistle before the snap. Illegal procedure against Fort Morgan. That's the first penalty by either side, I believe, in this second half. Yep. Mustangs had 3 penalties in the opening half for 35 yards. And then we had the 3 penalties for 15 yards by Brush. So that'll place the football back at the 14-yard line, maybe the 13. Timeout, Brush.
Timeout. B. Digger.
We'll keep it right here with 1:34 to go, and the Mustangs up 35-7. We'll be naming our Mustang player of the game. If you're listening live, keep in mind that the Colorado Prep Scoreboard Show with Kevin Schaefer will follow at 9:30. That's 9:30 to 11 here on B106 and B106.com. And then at 11 o'clock, we will have Mustang replay. So that's essentially the way this year is working. Our replays for Brush on 10:10 and for Fort Morgan on B106 will be at 11 o'clock. So for the road games, if you're traveling and you pick up the Colorado Prep Scoreboard Show, and replay could be going on once you arrive back into town. Of course, we'll have a long road trip next Friday night when the Mustangs play in Parker against Lutheran, a school that Kevin and I are familiar with. Many field days held there for Trinity Lutheran. Very nice campus.
Yep, and they were in our league several years ago.
Yep.
And we played them home and away, and they happen to be losing right now 22-3 to Platte Valley. But that really doesn't say much about how the game next week's going to go. They're always tough. They have artificial turf. I keep wanting to call it AstroTurf. That dates me too. But the artificial turf down there, and nice field, and they'll be ready for us.
Third down and 6, and now Isaac Linker calls a timeout right. It looked like he called it right before the play clock expired.
Timeout. Mustangs.
He did. See, that's the sign of a senior quarterback.
Right.
But that is very odd. You come out of a timeout for one team, and all of a sudden the play clock is running out on the other team. Right. It's almost like somebody fell asleep on the wheel there.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. They weren't even hardly up to the line of scrimmage, and they were out of time.
Well, then again, it's week 1.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's first game of the season for Fort Morgan, and
I'm impressed with them for week 1.
Oh, gosh, yes.
It's been offensively, defensively,
Well, I think Kevin used a perfect word. It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's exciting to watch. It's flashy type of football, but it's also substantive football. It's not all flash and dash. There's physical play, so they're winning by using multiple elements here. Engineering and consulting services for all of your projects. Western Engineering Consultants. Strong commitment to their clients' needs. Set them apart. Get your project started the right way with Western Engineering Consultants. Third down and 6 for the Mustangs at the B. Digger 14-yard line. 94 seconds to go in the third quarter. Fort Morgan 35, Brush 7. Linker, two-step drop, looking, slant over the middle. Incomplete, off the hands of Fajardo at the goal line. That was a perfect pass by Linker, but Fajardo did not bring it in. It's fourth down, and that could have been and should have been his 4th touchdown pass of the game.
Yep, in and out of the hands. He was open. Nice.
And we're going to see
Jose
put it up for 3.
Jose Jimenez was a very reliable kicker as a junior. This will be a 30-yard attempt off that left hash mark, off the hold of Isaac Linker. Linker awaits a snap. It's down. The kick by Jimenez is up. It looks good from here, and it is no good off to the left. Oh, man, just off to the left, apparently. Boy, did it. I thought it did.
I know, it looked good to me.
Well,
but we're not under the goal line, under the goalpost, so.
No.
That's true.
There's been some of those, in past years also. I thought, well, that's a good kick. And
well, then the B Diggers are taking over from here. 35-7 Fort Morgan, 1:27 to go. Now, Brush has scored on their last drive, a 56-yard gallop there by Nick Wellen. And now they've got it at the 20-yard line after the missed field goal by J.J. by Jose Jimenez. And if anything, Brush has already had a better second half than they did in the first half because they're even right now with Fort Morgan in the second half. Actually, they've outscored Morgan 7-6 following the touchdown by Welland and the extra point. On first down for the 20, Maltos Garcia turns and hands it off, and there's a hole up the middle, and that, I believe, is Welland again to the 25. It's a gain of 5 before he's stacked up. And Nick Welland is putting up big numbers like he did last week. Last week he went off for 152. And this week he's got 15 carries for 130 yards as Villalobos made the play for Fort Morgan. And we are under 1 minute to go.
Looks like maybe Linker
In
got
the third.
dinged on that play. He's kind of holding his left elbow a little bit.
Second down and 5 for the Bead Diggers at their own 25-yard line with a back split. Hondo back to throw, looking, pressure coming, throws it out to his right, passes incomplete off the hands of the intended receiver along the right side. And that was Seawald. Nope, that's Kyle Welland, the freshman. It'll be third down and 5. That was only the 7th pass attempt for Hondo. 2 out of 7 for 17 yards. One completion to Seawald, the other to Jade Queen.
Brings up third down.
Yeah, he held that just about too long. He was about ready to get sacked back there, but the brush line did a nice job to keep him off the ground.
And he had good composure. He
he
didn't
does,
panic and run. So,
Well, one thing you got to look at, too, is play calling. I think Brush's play calling has been pretty solid, which is why they had over 100 yards in the first half and now have improved on that total here in the second half. And I know a lot of them are runs, but they do have the touchdown. Third down and 5. Maltos Garcia looks to throw again. Pressure coming. The screen underneath incomplete. He got pressured, throwing off his back foot. That pass intended for Welland right near the 20-yard line. It'll be fourth down and 5, and the Bead Diggers will have to punt with 37.8 seconds to go in the third. And the Mustangs up 35-7.
Now, to me, it looked like he grounded that. I mean, he got rid of it because his screen pass or whoever it was going out there was covered. So for a freshman, he did a great job there getting rid of that ball.
he did.
Threw it down at the feet of the receiver.
Puga to punt. Back deep to receive are Donovan Moya and Jacob Ortega. At about their own 44. Do we have another stoppage in play? Yeah, the second Bead Digger timeout here, the third. So the teams have combined for 3 timeouts already in this third quarter. And we'll just keep it right here as what was odd about the last timeout is that they called back-to-back timeouts because one team wasn't ready once that timeout concluded. Again, the Bead Diggers, by the way, will be off next week. Their next game will be 2 weeks from tonight. It'll be their road opener. They'll be in Alliance, Nebraska. Rob Hastings and Ron Alba will have that call on KSIR and KSIR.com. As we mentioned, we'll be in Parker next week for the Mustangs and Lutheran at 7 o'clock on B106 and B106.com. And Fort Morgan is just over 12 minutes away from generating their 4th consecutive victory over Brush.
Right. So these Brush seniors will go home having never beaten Fort Morgan.
Well, in the previous class, the Brush class that graduated in 2015 did not lose to Fort Morgan, so now you're having back-to-back win streaks of at least 4 games.
Yeah, I think the win streak by Brush was 5.
It was 5. A little bit of a high snap, no pressure, low line drive, end over end, fielded at the 49, and then Moya's hit at the 48 of Brush, a return of 3 yards. Nice tackle there by Jade Queen.
Good job of getting up and catching that instead of letting it bounce and carry about 30 yards downfield.
Yeah, it was an end over end. It could have went quite a ways.
First and 10 for the Mustangs at the 48-yard line of the Bead Diggers. I mean, they've had incredible field position tonight.
They have.
I mean, as Fort Morgan even started at their own 20 or 25, it's all been, I mean, I think their worst field position was maybe the 30-some-odd yard line.
Yeah.
And now they're in Brush territory again, up by 28 points. Linker on first and 10 for the 48. He's going to hand it off to Hamer, stutter stepping, drives to the 35, make it the 45, a gain of 3. Fuentes has made a bunch of tackles tonight, including that one. Mustangs up to the line of scrimmage, but I would think they would just eat it and not take the play here and go to the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
Looking over towards the side. Yeah, no reason to run a play here.
No, they won't.
All right, we'll take it to the fourth quarter with a score. It's a 1-minute break. Fort Morgan 35, Brush 7. This is Morgan County's B106 and B106.com. Let's begin the fourth quarter with the Mustangs leading the Brush Beat Diggers in Brush 35-7. I'm John Beltran with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde. And Fort Morgan has the football, 2nd down and 8 at the Brush 45-yard line. And they have played a bevy of players tonight. There have been a lot of Mustangs getting action. There's the counter to Hamer, a big haul to the 40, running to his right to the 35, cuts it back inside, and then he spun around inside the 25 to the 24-yard line, and there's a flag down at the line of scrimmage, and this one might be coming back.
There is a penalty flag.
They might be calling that on the Brush kid. I'm not sure.
Well, let's see.
We'll see.
If not, it would go for a gain of 22 if it's against Brush.
No,
But it's against
holding,
Fort
okay.
Morgan, so that's completely nullified.
Personal foul indicated.
Wow,
Oh, personal
that's what he called?
So maybe personal foul against Linker.
No, I think it was a lineman there. I think he got involved with somebody, or one of the Brush linemen.
Well, this will set up a 2nd down and forever.
So how many personal fouls is that then for Fort Morgan? Was that 3?
I've only
Well,
got
two, I think.
2. Yep, that's only the 2nd.
Well, the one in the end zone there, and then...
No, that's it. It's 3. You're right.
Yeah, and then the one
You're
where
right.
Linker hurdled the guy.
That is 3.
Oh, okay.
That is correct. Yep, I didn't mark the other one down, but you're right.
That's not something that's going to hold up, on a winning
Nope.
team. You're going to have to get that fixed.
2nd down and 22 to go. Football's at the 40-yard line for the Mustangs. 30 seconds into the fourth, up 35-7. 2 receivers split out to the left, 1 to the right. Isaac Linker is going to hand it off to No, he's going to keep the football, roll out to his left. He's got room, throws along the sideline. It's incomplete to Fajardo. Apparently he caught the ball, but his foot was on the line at the 48-yard line of Brush, so it's incomplete. Boy, but a nice play fake there by Isaac Linker. It'll be 3rd down and about 22 to go.
Yeah, I thought he'd handed it off. I thought, well, there's the stuff up the middle, and
Yeah.
Well, you know what would be a good play here? A draw play. I don't know if Fort Morgan has that in their repertoire, but and I'm certainly no play caller. Mr. D's Ace Home Center, proud supporter of the area athletes. They'll serve you with all your home, farm, and ranch supplies with 3 locations, Sterling, Brush, and Fort Morgan. Mr. D's Ace Home Center. 3rd down and 22 to go for the 40-yard line. Again, Linker awaiting the direct snap. He will hand it off, and that hole is closed quickly. Hamer's hit hard by Wellen at the 42. Only picked up a couple of yards. Yeah, I think the concern for Brush here, Wellen, Morales, Fuentes, a lot of the same guys are making the tackles. They need a little bit more involvement from some of the other players. This will be Fort Morgan's first punt of the game.
Yep.
Let's see, is that Jimenez too? No, it doesn't look like him.
Looks like Frank.
Frank Ortega.
Yeah. He's 26.
Yep, okay. The freshman at his own 27-yard line. Waiting the snap. Well, they're coming with a heavy rush. And he gets it off. End over end headed towards the sideline. It takes a nice bounce towards the 30-yard line.
The 30-yard line.
Yep, that's a punt of 28 yards for Ortega. And the Beat Diggers take over with 10:28 to go in the game, with Fort Morgan up 35-7.
Fort Morgan substituting liberally on defense now. The starters are, for the most part, out.
Get a delicious treat at Willow Coffee and Bake Shop, breakfast or lunch option to make the day that much better. On Edison Street in Brush, and crystal clear ice, good for any drink, as AC Ice at any time of the year. You can pick up AC Ice at any local grocery or convenience store in Northeast Colorado today. 1st and 10 for Brush at their own 30-yard line. Maltos Garcia will hand it off on the left side for a short gain to Morales. To the 31.
I think that was
Nope.
Wellen.
No, Wellen, my
Young
bad.
Wellen.
Kyle Wellen on the carry, as you mentioned. 2nd down and 9.
Cale Langford with the tackle.
Yeah. Another sophomore for Fort Morgan making a contribution here. And in the fourth quarter with less than 10 minutes to go, it should be a lot of the younger players in there at this point.
Right.
On 2nd and 9 for the 31. That's the way you build a program. And that's what the Mustangs are doing very nicely here from the 31. Maltos, 5-step drop, looking, pressure up the middle, throws it deep up the middle, incomplete. Queen at the 35-yard line of Fort Morgan was well defended by Donovan Moya. 3rd down and 9 to go. Maltos Garcia attempted just his 9th pass. He's 2 out of 9 for 17 yards.
Nice arm, though.
No, he's got an excellent arm, but
You just got to control it a little bit.
It's hard to have that perfect of a touch when you're that well defended. And on the other hand, I think maybe a shorter route would help.
Right.
Yeah, and also a freshman. If he stays as a starting quarterback for 4 years, look out here in the next couple of years, even next year.
3rd and 9 for the 31. Everybody stacked in tightly. And now Maltos Garcia is going to be pressured, and he's going to be hit, and he's going to fumble the ball, and it's still loose at about the 25-yard line. And then the Mustangs have come up with another turnover, and they've got the football. The fumble is recovered by Fort Morgan's Jesus Villalobos at the 25 of Brush. 2nd turnover by the Bead Diggers.
Yep, 2 fumbles.
Yeah, and Maltos Garcia had no shot there.
No.
I mean, they were all over him at that point. And now Caden Edson is the new quarterback for Fort Morgan with 9:27 to go, and it's a 35-7 lead for the Mustangs, and Jacob Ortega is in that backfield. And let's see what Coach Davies decides to do here. Again, Edson with a man in motion to the left. Going to hand off to Ortega, running to his right along the right sideline to the 10 to the 5. Ortega gone! 25 yards, and the Mustangs now lead 41-7. 4th touchdown of the game for the junior Jacob Ortega.
I was wondering when they were going to break him out because he had a good year last year also.
Oh, yeah.
Now the extra point to be attempted by Jose Jimenez. Awaiting the snap. It's down. The kick is up. And that kick is good. 9 minutes and 20 seconds to go from Brush. The score, Fort Morgan 42, Brush 7 on B106 and B106.com. The Mustangs now lead 42-7, a 25-yard run by Jacob Ortega. And another one-play drive for Fort Morgan. And that one is squibbed and fielded by Queen at the 11. Queen along the right sideline behind some blockers, and then he's taken down at the 24-yard line. A return of 13 yards. Another sophomore making a play, Gabe Vickers for Fort Morgan.
Yeah, it's good to see these kids being able to play, these younger kids, and playing good or playing well.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Brian. Kevin is a principal. He wants you to use proper English.
I'm over here grading you.
I should have probably flunked a long time ago.
This is Morgan County's B106, top of the hour. This is KPRB, Brush, Fort Morgan. John Beltran along with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde. And the Mustangs got back on the board. New quarterback here for Brush. We have him on the roster there. Number 6. Yeah.
Ivan Cardenas.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Well, his backup's a freshman.
Cardenas. And now he's going to roll to his right. He's going to be taken down for a huge loss. Case Gibbons, a junior, throws him down at the, about the 14-yard line. That's a loss of 9 yards as Cardenas is thrown down.
Yeah, it looks like Brush is playing some. They're playing some younger guys up on the line as well as Fort Morgan is.
So it's kind of down to a JV game, maybe?
Kind of, sort of.
Well, we do have
seniors.
That, plenty of time here.
Yeah.
8:38 to go. Second down and 19 for the 14. Ivan will hand it off, but nothing there up the middle. Whew. How many Mustangs are there to make the play?
Yeah, and And they're letting them know that there may be a little lower level of skill, but there's no lower level of physicality.
Yep, Jackson Dunker had the carry, but Vickers was around the football along with a couple of other Mustangs. It'll be 3rd down and 19 to go for Brush.
Yeah, they're hitting just as hard as the number 1 crew was.
On 3rd down and 19. And now rolling to his right is Cardenas, but he's out of room. He's going to be thrown down for a loss back at the 12-yard line. And that is a very athletic play over there by Givens again.
Yeah.
4th and 21. Well, he showed a lot of speed
Yes, he did.
getting to Cardenas, and he stayed pretty disciplined out there. Cardenas could really not get around him.
Yeah, I thought maybe he was going to pull away from him, but not the case in Case Givens.
That's right.
That just happened.
I caught that one.
I think that punt was intended. You're going to use that for the Broncos quarterback. And there's a punt with no Mustang back, so that could take a big, no, it takes a Mustang roll back to the 45-yard line. That type of night. I mean, that thing could have rolled another 10 yards in the right direction for Brush, but instead, now the Mustangs had the football at the 45-yard line, so that punt went for 33 yards.
And some of the Brush faithful packing up the blankets and heading home.
For a long weekend.
Yes.
It'll be 1st and 10 for Fort Morgan.
If you're out on the road this weekend, be safe.
Absolutely.
At the 45-yard line. Again, Edson, the quarterback, and Eddie DePriest is in the backfield. Awaiting the snap. Edson will hand it off to DePriest. He stutter steps, and then he gains maybe half a yard, maybe a yard. That's about it to the 44.
Eddie DePriest, the ball carrier, brought down by number 21, McWallen.
Yeah,
Second down and 9 yards to go as the play was made by Thomas Metlin. For DePriest, he's carried the football 7 times tonight.
Ernie Sandoval in at the up back blocker.
Ernie's another one who's got some pretty good hands on 2nd down and 9 from the 44. Edson this time will keep the football off the fake. He's got a seam to the 35, 1st down, but there's a flag down. He'll pick up 12 yards, but that one is coming back as that was thrown by the back judge.
There is a penalty flag on the play.
Boy, it's too bad when you've already got the 1st down and it's a hold.
Yeah, it's good that Fort Morgan has things to work on this next week. I'm sure the film, like Coach Schwint said about their victory over Wiggins, the film doesn't lie, and find lots of different things that they can work on.
So the football will be placed at the 47-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and about 12, 13 yards to go. Seems like this game won't end. We got 6:21 to go, and Fort Morgan with a 42-7 lead. But that's because you got to reach 40 points in order to get to a running clock. On 2nd down and 12 at the 47-yard line. The majority of the skill position players are out to the right. Edson to hand it off to DePriest, stutter steps, and then lowers his head. It gets to the 45. Before the tackle was made, it's going to be 3rd down and 10 to go for Fort Morgan. And Metlin made the hit once again. Well, DePriest getting some action. 8 carries for...
Now Angel Flores comes in for...
About 16 yards here.
Another sophomore.
On 3rd down and 10 for the 45-yard line. Now we're at the 5:18 mark of the 4th. Fort Morgan 42. And the Beat Diggers 7. Edson hands it off right side, breaking out of 1 tackle, but not a second. There for Fort Morgan is Flores. Gain of 3, and now Mustang getting up slowly.
Ernie Sandoval.
Yeah, Ernie, he had those issues as a freshman, you know, where he couldn't stay upright quite a bit, but then he always seems to bounce up and bounce back. Gain of 3, it'll be 4th down, and the Mustangs to punt.
Only the second punt of the game.
Yeah, both in this quarter. So Brush should have one more possession. Back deep to receive for the Bead Diggers will be Hunter Dunn, a junior. And is that Ortega once again?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, because I can't even see the number from here. It's a low snap. Whoa, his knee was on the
They're gonna slow him
ground.
down.
Yeah, that's the play is dead right there.
There's a freshman mistake for you.
And Brush will take over in Fort Morgan territory. Yeah, once your knee hits the ground, the play is over. It's a dead ball.
Yeah, not a good snap. I don't know who the snapper was. Was it Nick Norris was doing it earlier? I don't know if he's out there now or not.
He was going off, so he's kind of got his head hung down, and he knows it's his fault.
1st and 10 for the Bead Diggers at the Mustang 45-yard line. Yeah, the Mustangs have lots of young players out there for the final. Did they start the clock, I think?
No. It was 4:36 when it was.
Okay, but timeout Fort Morgan.
Mustangs.
Boy, this game won't end. This game will not end.
It's like a JV basketball game that gets to double bonuses in the first quarter. I wonder when it's ever going to be over.
Well, at some point, like a good neighbor, Greg Mullen and his team at State Farm Insurance are there to make the insurance world easy for you at 842-4555. That's Greg Mullen at State Farm Insurance.
Immediately following the game and throw your trash in.
Well, our post-game show coming up momentarily, but a good night for the Mustangs with a 42-7 lead.
Again, thank you for your support.
And Ivan Cardenas at the 45 of Fort Morgan. On 1st down, and there's the give to the deep back, and fighting his way for a couple of yards to the 43. Let's see, that
Dunker, the ball
was
carrier,
Dunker, the sophomore.
37, Nick Castaneda.
The junior Castaneda in on the hit.
David Wood, a sophomore, in on the front line for Fort Morgan.
2nd down and 8 to go for the Bead Diggers at the Mustang 43. And a handoff, and then right there stacked up by about 4 Mustangs. I think that's Dunker again. Wow.
Number 73.
I mean, Wood was in there as well. And also in there for Fort Morgan was Castaneda and a couple of others. That was just too easy. It's a loss of 3. 3rd down and 11. With the ball at the 46-yard line. Approaching the 3.5-minute mark of the 4th. Fort Morgan leads 42-7. As Jacob Ortega has 4 touchdowns in the game, 3 touchdown catches, and a 25-yard scoring run earlier in this quarter. Receivers split out to the left and right. Backs are split. 3rd down and 11. And a bobble on the snap. The ball is loose. I think Fort Morgan has got it. That would be the 3rd turnover of the game for Brush, and it is. And that was recovered by Wood. So now the Mustangs can just run out the clock here. They might have to pick up a 1st down to officially run out the clock, but boy, that's the killer there with 3 turnovers. But, I mean, that's had no effect on this game. Fort Morgan was winning despite the turnovers.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the early ones might have turned the momentum a little bit more against Brush, but you're right. Fort Morgan has manhandled the Bead Diggers tonight.
Coming in.
All right, Caden Edson.
Simon Graff in late.
Well, we're going to have a timeout here. Oh, boy. Another timeout. Well, again, this just speaks to being week 1.
Mustang.
And because it's week 1, that's what we get here. They want to get everybody as possible that can play in this particular game, and can't blame them, but it just extends the game that much more.
Right. And it's not unusual to have to call a timeout to get, that 3rd or 4th group of kids organized to make sure that you have everyone you need.
Yeah, I'm sure. some of these kids probably don't even get reps during the week
Right.
with some of these other kids, but most of it's a JV team anyway. So
1st and 10 for the Mustangs at their own 45. There's the handoff on the left side and back towards the middle, and spinning across the 50 to the 49-yard line is Angel Flores. It's a gain of 8. It'll be 2nd down and 2. We're under 3 minutes to go in the game.
Johnny Eggleston coming in. Get his shot at varsity play. Another sophomore.
On 2nd down and 2 for the Beet Digger 47-yard line. Letting the play clock run down is Edson. Once it gets to 5 seconds, then he'll start that count. Yeah, he's still waiting on that back judge. And there we go on 2nd down and 2. There's the handoff to Flores, runs into a blocker and a Beet Digger, and he only gains a yard to the 46. 3rd and 1 to go for the Mustangs.
Struck out by number 59, Chase Barnett, number
he's
16,
kind of
Michael
plugged
Force.
up there in the middle.
Yep. They get this first down, and he can put a fork in it.
Yep. Gave him a yard on it anyway.
On 3rd and 1 from the 46. Yeah, they get the first down here. They should just take a knee or a couple of knees after that, and then this thing will come to an end momentarily. Again, Edson waiting for the back judge until the play clock gets to 5 seconds. Edson to hand it off to Flores. He's not going to get the first down, but at the last second he spun towards the first down marker, but still short. Fuentes made another tackle. That's going to be
Just short.
Yep, no gain there.
Brings up 4th down.
But
Try it one
Morgan
more
will-
time.
Yeah, we'll run a play here, get a first down, and then just take a knee, and that'll be it. Looking over towards the sideline with 1:15 to go. The Mustangs had a 29-0 lead at the break. Minute 5 to go. Clock continues to run. Edson hands it off Flores, and he's spun down. I think he got the first down
Yep.
because his body was across the line of scrimmage. It's a gain of 1, and that'll be it. With a minute to go. Take one knee and
First down.
Should be good.
leave Brush here with a
That didn't take him long to
35-point win.
get the clock running again.
Yeah, this has been a long fourth quarter. The first quarter went by quick,
Yep.
but then the game seems like it's come to a standstill here. Final play of the game, the Mustangs will take a knee. They're in victory formation, and that'll be it. The Fort Morgan Mustangs have won the opening game of the 2018 season, defeating the Brush Beet Diggers in Brush 42-7. It's a 2-minute break on B106, on the TuneIn app as well, and on B106.com. The Mustang postgame show is brought to you by Morgan Community College. They're here to make your dreams become a reality for both traditional and non-traditional students. Check them out at morgancc.edu. Morgan Community College, as the Mustangs come away with a 42-7 victory. John Beltran back with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde. We'll get Kevin and Brian's thoughts here momentarily. But Brian, let's run through the scoring of tonight's game, as the Mustangs did not waste any time once they got the football.
No, one play, 64-yard pass from Isaac Linker to Jacob Ortega. And Linker runs it in the 2-point conversion, puts the Mustangs up 8-0 with 6:08 left in the first quarter. Mustangs get the ball back, go 53 yards. Linker with a 7-yard run. PAT by Jose Jimenez, good, puts the Mustangs up 15-0 with 31 seconds left in the first period. That's the way the first quarter came to an end. The Mustangs get the ball back, go 35 yards. Hamer with the run from 9 yards out. PAT good once again, 22-0 Fort Morgan. 6:56 to go in the first half. Mustangs get the ball back once again, make it 29-0 on a 40-yard pass to Jacob Ortega. And the PAT is good once again, makes it 29-0 with 1:38 left to go in the half, and that's the way the first half ended. The Mustangs got the ball on the first possession, take it 65 yards, and on a 17-yard pass to, once again, Jacob Ortega. PAT this time is no good, puts the score at 35-0 Fort Morgan. The Brush Beet Diggers get on the board, 75 yards. In 5 plays, Nick Wellen goes in, 56-yard run. The PAT is good for Brush, makes it 35-7 with 4:46 to go in the third period. And that's the way made it 35-7 with the extra point. And that's the way the third period came to an end. Mustangs get the ball back. 1 play, 30 yards run by Jacob Ortega once again. And the PAT good, makes it 42-7 Fort Morgan, and that's the way the scoring came for the game tonight.
Yeah, just a dominant night by the Mustangs. Let's look at the numbers here statistically. Isaac Linker had a tremendous game. Not only did he have that 64-yard pass to Jacob Ortega to get the scoring started, unofficially 8 out of 13, 181 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Ortega had quite the night. 5 catches for 150 yards and 3 scores. Connor Fajardo had 2 for 22, as the Mustangs were obviously clicking on all cylinders. Linker had 8 carries for 73 yards and a touchdown in the game. J.P. Hamer, certainly the leading rusher, 17 carries for 124 yards and a score. Ortega also had a rushing touchdown, by the way, 3 carries for 41 yards. Edson 1 for 7. Angel Flores had 5 for 13. Eddie DePriest had some action in the game, and he had 7 carries for 17 yards. Meanwhile, on the Brush side of the ledger, Nick Wellen did have that 56-yard touchdown run, and already on the season has 282 yards. He had a good night tonight, 15 carries for 130 yards, but Brush had 166 yards of total offense. So outside of Wellen, they only had 36 yards of offense. Alejandro Maltos Garcia passing was 2 out of 9 for 17 yards. We're also, by the way, on Facebook Live, besides on B106 and B106.com. So total yardage for the Mustangs, 462 unofficially, and 166 for the Beet Diggers, who fall to 1-1 on the year. And Kevin Rohde, quite the performance by the Mustangs, not only on offense, but on defense as well. There were 3 turnovers forced in the game. Now, 2 of those were forced pretty late, but nonetheless, the Mustangs shut out this team in the first half, and it really only had 1 breakdown in the entire game.
Right, yeah, the Mustangs defense really did well. They had the 1 play that Wellen broke through, but other than that, they were physical. They dominated the line of scrimmage. They covered the receivers and didn't give the quarterback from Brush much time to throw. And so, yeah, the defense, I think, was going to be one of Fort Morgan's strong points this year.
Well, and again, they lost some players from last year, but you've got your longtime defensive coordinator, Josh Langford, and the personality of this Fort Morgan team throughout the years has been physicality.
Yes.
And, Brian, I thought it played very well tonight.
Yeah, it did. They were real physical. It was a gang tackle. It wasn't just a one-person pony show out there with on the defensive side. I mean, they were bringing 3 or 4 guys at the time to stop the Brush offense, and they did a good job as far as stopping. Wellen had a big game, but nobody else did, and did get some pressure on that young quarterback, but he's gonna grow into a good quarterback. That's for darn sure. He showed some poise out there tonight, and he'll bring this Brush football team back.
All right, it's time to name the Mustang Player of the Game, brought to you by Transwest. Believing that customers are number one, check out their selection online or just stop by one of their dealerships in Fort Morgan or Sterling today. That is Transwest. And, of course, you could say there are a couple of candidates. Isaac Linker did a heck of a job, and he could be a player of the game for future games, but let's give it to Jacob Ortega, the junior, who had 150 yards and catches, 3 touchdowns, and also that 25-yard scoring run. So not only did he get it done for the wide receiver position, but also for the backfield with his limited number of carries. So Jacob Ortega is the Transwest Player of the Game as the Mustangs put together a dominating performance, their 4th consecutive victory over the Brush Beet Diggers, and quite frankly, none of them have been really close. Last year was competitive at 22-0, but in 3 of the 4 meetings, they've eclipsed 40 points. And this seemed to to me to be one of these meetings to gather my thoughts that I wasn't sure that they would be this dominant because of the fact they did lose their 2 leading rushers from a year ago, so you've got to do that. The only thing that really held true in this game, Kevin, was the experienced offensive line. They seem to be able to drive the Brush defense off the football.
Absolutely. In the trenches, the Hogs got the job done, as they say, and Fort Morgan's got some great linemen coming back, and throughout the game, Fort Morgan would move the line of scrimmage down the field several times before the back even got there. There were several times we talked about Hamer not being hit till he was hit by a linebacker, where Brush had to fight through the defensive linemen as well as the linebackers.
All right, Brian, Kevin, and I will be in Lutheran next Friday night for the Mustangs against the are they still the Lutheran Lions or?
I believe they are the Lions.
Yeah, the Lions, and they'll be at 7 o'clock right here on B106, and B106.com will also have pregame and postgame on Facebook Live. Brian, you wanted to add something?
They came out of this game, as far as we know, healthy. Nobody got hurt this year in the first game like we had last year where we lost Trey for 4 games. So that was keep everybody healthy. That's a big positive.
I mean, that's a huge point because you can say that for any game, but you're right. As a basis of comparison to last year, that's where the Mustangs got into trouble immediately. And subsequently, they lost those back-to-back games to Berthoud and Holy Family, and the season was never the same. They would put together a winning streak and then finish 6-4, losing the regular season finale to Longmont. Excellent job by our sound engineers and producers, Emily Hernandez and Herrick Curtis. For Kevin Rohde and Brian Nickel, I'm John Beltran. Final score tonight from Beet Digger Stadium in the opener for the Mustangs. Fort Morgan 42, Brush 7 on Morgan County's B106. Facebook Live on the TuneIn app on B106 as well as B106.com.